Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy. This is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
8:43 and 3/4 here on the 24th day of March in the year 2020 Anno Domini. This is the Den, Ken's Den. Den mother extraordinaire Kathy Palmer is on the line.
She dropped off, but she's listening, yeah.
Okay.
She's social distancing right now?
That's major social distancing if she was on the phone and then hung up. In the studio this week, I have Mayor Don Humason, and I also have the director of the Westfield Emergency Management Agency. And at the top of the hour, we're really going to dive into WEMA and exactly what they do. But good morning, Don, and good morning, Jim.
Morning, Ken.
Good morning.
All right,
Morning, everybody.
good. So, latest news yesterday happened, some important news happened in Boston. First, Charlie Baker closed more businesses. But before we get to that, I want to mention that the Senate decided that we will not be having an election on March 31st right now.
They passed a bill to extend the date for the Senate special election that was scheduled for March 31st to May 19th. Is that the right?
May 19th.
Yes, that's correct, yep.
And that impacts not just Westfield, but the 10 other cities and towns in the second Hampton and Hampshire district. So that was formerly my district. So those 11 communities are all going to have to abide by that new date.
Right, and unfortunately, that means that in this time of need, we currently don't have any representation.
That's right. And at least in the Senate, John's still, at least in Westfield, John Vilas is still our state representative in the House, but the Senate seat is still vacant. Trouble with the special election being so late is that the Senate does its budget negotiations and deliberations typically in May. So the new senator who gets elected in May doesn't even get sworn in until the end and probably misses the Senate budget debate. Unless they are going to be late this year because of everything else that's going on. Maybe the debate will be delayed. But by law, by the Constitution, we're supposed to have our budget in place by July 1st. So the House starts in April, does its version, and then the Senate does their version in May, and then it gets conferenced in June, and by July 1st, we're supposed to have that budget passed and on Governor Baker's desk for his signature.
Now, I don't want to
Everything's up in the air
politicize
this
this
year.
right now, and I don't want to dive into parties, but currently there's only 4 Republicans right now in the Senate.
That's right.
If there were 2 more in the empty seats, would that have much impact on things being changed in the budget?
No, and in fact, even 4 won't have much impact. We were, as a member of the Republican caucus in the Senate, we were always fairly successful about getting things in the budget, especially for our district. So that wasn't the problem. It was a matter of, it wasn't the budget that was so much an issue. It was when we had the big debates on the hot topics. Those were the ones we tended to lose because it was the votes fell down to party line division, and so there were so few of us. We typically lost. When it comes to regular legislation and the budget, there was never a problem. We always had seats at the table. In fact, I was in Ways and Means. Actually wrote the budget, so there was a chance to get a real good impact. And,
because at that point, you're not representing a donkey or an elephant. You're representing your home area.
You're just doing government, right? Government for your district, government for the state. You're not really talking about that partisan stuff that does come down. You do have the partisan fights, but even this issue with the extension of the election date wasn't a partisan thing. It was all about what was the right thing to do for the district, towns, for the voters, for the poll workers, for the people back in the districts when COVID-19 is running around. So that was the concern.
And how does this affect or work with people who have done the absentee or mail-in?
Their absentee and mail-in is still there. It will still wait until the date that it gets open in May. I think what they're trying to do is encourage more people, though. If you're uncomfortable possibly coming to the polling location, request an absentee ballot. Do it mail-in so that you don't have to worry about that.
And there's plenty of time to do that at this point.
Yeah, we've got 2 more months.
How does somebody go about getting a mail-in ballot?
Yeah, so as you know, we closed City Hall to the public a couple weeks ago or just last week?
Yeah.
Things have moving pretty fast. So we did that so that folks can't actually go to the clerk's office, but they can download the application online, send it in, get the application, fill it out, and send it back in plenty of time.
Now, I know some of my demographics don't have or use computers. If they can't download a form, how can they do something?
Certainly, they can call the clerk's office right at City Hall. There's still folks working there. It's just that folks can't go to the counter. But you can still do it that way.
All right, give Karen a call and
Yep.
or
Karen
whoever
or Donna,
answers the phone.
anybody in the office will be very helpful.
Excellent. So another thing that Charlie mentioned yesterday, and it's the reason why I've been furloughed 2 days earlier than what I thought.
Yeah.
He did close down all non-essentials. How do you think that's going to impact Westfield?
I think it'll impact us the longer it goes. I think the more difficult it will be to abide by it. But for the time being, I mean, I think he tried to walk a fine line. The governor said, look, we're not mandating that you stay sheltered in place.
Right.
But if you don't have to go to work at an essential place, stay home. If you don't have to be out and about, stay home. The encouragement is, to keep yourself as far away from other people as you can so that we're not potentially spreading the virus. It will be harder and harder for folks to deal with, I think, the longer it goes.
You're going to start to get cabin fever, especially as we're going to be going into better weather,
spring
right?
comes, exactly. Now, the good news is you can still get outside. This is the year, folks. If you got yard work to do, you're going to have plenty of time to do it because that's all you'll be able to do, at least safely. Get outside and plant your flowers and rake your lawn.
And it's certainly okay to get out and go for a walk, and
That's right.
You don't have to stay in. You just
Talking to folks on the bike trail, and they were saying it was quite full.
Oh, really?
Riding,
But just
people
practice
walking.
the guidelines, right? Social distancing. Try to keep 6 feet between you, because that's mainly for the virus spread and things like that.
Well, it's easy for you to say, Pete. You're in a
I'm in my bubble.
a
I know.
hydroponic bubble 12 feet from us
See,
right
I'm-
now. You've got your own oxygen source and
I wish.
purified.
Yeah, sure.
I literally saw him drinking Purell in there with his coffee. So you're supposed to rub it on your hands, not drink it, actually.
Thank you.
Oh, speaking of drinking, by the way,
The package stores have been deemed essential. in the state.
yeah, Charlie declared package stores as essential.
If nothing else, the governor is still a politician, and this is still Massachusetts. So
Yeah.
you want to keep your job, don't touch your face. If you want to keep your job, if you want to keep your job, do not mess with the package stores.
Yeah.
And apparently, too, I think the pot shops, too.
Medical only,
Medical,
not recreational.
Hey, listen, before this gets too farther on, I have a present for you, Ken, if you don't mind.
Oh,
I heard you say earlier it was your 200th. This would have been your 200th monologue today.
It would have been, yes.
And,
That's the truth.
Oh my
yes, I brought you.
God! How did you afford that?
My wife was very upset that we were going to part with this. This is the good stuff. Yeah, it's very soft. Hasn't been used yet. There you go. That's for you.
That's worth real
Thank
money
you.
right now, man.
And as a bonus, can I know how much you like me? You like the plastic bags too. Can't get these anymore.
And I'm going to reuse that bag too. So this is almost as good as being gifted an automobile right now.
I think
that is
if
a
we
hot
wait much longer,
commodity.
it'll be worth more than an automobile. So.
Well, thank you, Don.
You're very welcome. Janice, I'm sorry. I'll replace that whenever the supplies come back.
That's funny.
You know what? We're in a school building. You should be able to find some down here somewhere.
Actually, you joke about that. The schools have actually been really helpful. In fact, the Allied Health folks called to say, hey, look, any of our supplies that we have, we're going to actually donate them to the city and get them back to the first responders and also to Bay State Noble. So trade schools across the state have been doing that.
Okay, I haven't read that.
Oh, I noticed that Chef Mooch came in yesterday, and he had a couple of boxes of gloves that they use for food prep, and he donated those as well.
That's right. And I mean, so people are coming out and doing very creative things to try to help when supplies are limited, right? They know that in the future we'll have stocks again, but right now they're not using them. The schools are closed. So donate them to the first responders. It's awesome. So I'm just saying thank you.
I had not heard of that one yet.
Cool thing.
While we're talking about local government and City Hall, a lot of excise taxes were due the end of last week. Some folks haven't had paychecks deposited into their accounts.
Sure.
How are people going to be getting slammed with late fees or processing fees or interest if they're going to be a little late with these?
No, of course not, because we know that Westfield citizens will, of course, pay their bills on time. There will be no late fees anyway. But in the event that there is a problem,
mine's going to be late. I guarantee you that. Yeah.
no worries. They've actually extended the date, and there will be, I think, late fees are suspended for a little while. So, and that's not just Westfield. Obviously, other cities are doing the same thing. We're trying to encourage people to get their bills in through normal process, through the mail or through the drop box outside of City Hall. You can pay online. There's other ways to do it, so you don't actually have to come in person and do it. But we recognize that this is sort of an unprecedented time, and folks are potentially in danger of maybe losing their jobs, or at least being did you say you were furloughed?
I was furloughed, yeah.
Yeah, and, for the time being, maybe not working. So we get it.
Yeah.
We're trying not to be too punitive.
Yeah, the check I'm going to be getting from unenjoyment is not very enjoyable looking. I saw the number, and well,
And then you still have to
I'm
pull
not the only one in
pull
that
the
boat.
taxes out of that too. Pay it later.
I want to just briefly hit social media for a second. Now there are some folks saying, "Oh, geez, I never hear from the mayor on this, or I haven't seen any posts from the mayor." Now you do a weekly video update, don't you?
So this is one of my things. I've talked with Jim about this, and we've spoken, and we do constant conference calls every day in the city with various groups and everything. But it's been very frustrating to me that because of the way media is so split nowadays, there's no one resource. So I have been getting some flack from folks saying, how come you haven't been out there standing on the smoldering wreckage of the World Trade Center shouting about how this will be, we'll take care of this? And I said, because I'm a local mayor. I don't have the power of the presidency to move the media to cover everything I do. I'm also not a media whore, so I'm not going to stand up there and bang the table looking for attention. This isn't about me anyway. But what gets me frustrated is that I am trying to do things on Channel 15. I'm trying to do things on Facebook. I'm trying to do things in the Westfield News or the Republican. And then when I tell people about that, they're like, well, I don't subscribe to the newspaper. I don't have a television. I don't watch. So folks are giving me a hard time about not being visible, and yet they're not going to the sources or the outlets that we have to try to communicate with people in public. So my wife and I talked about that this morning. We were just talking about a friend of ours who doesn't have a television. So I was going to call and say, hey, I'm on Channel 15 this morning with Kenny. Didn't matter because my friend.
If they have a
doesn't
computer, westfieldtv.org.
Yeah, she does have she does have a computer, but it's like trying to drive people to the website or drive people to, all the videos that you put up, on our YouTube channel, for example, or the the school committee meetings. I'm on those. I'm trying to be, I'm trying to do a balance there with trying to get the information out when it's necessary, and to make sure it's getting out from the right people. Some of it has to come out from the mayor. I think some of it has to come out from Joe Rouse and the folks in the public health department. But it's frustrating because we don't have one media source that everybody goes to. So we'll keep doing our best with putting it out in a bunch of different sources. If you want to go to my Facebook page, it's Don Humason, or Facebook/Don Humason, and I try to do like a Friday afternoon message and just talk a little bit about what went on that week. Not always COVID related, but whatever happened in City Hall. And you don't have to be friends with me on Facebook to watch my page because it's public. But that's one of the ways I do it. But the other way is you can certainly email or call the office or read the Westfield paper. They do come. The nice thing about being mayor is that the reporters actually come to you for comments on stories like the election. So I'm trying to get information out that way. It is frustrating to me too, folks. I wish I was maybe more able to get out to each and every person. But the other thing I've found is pretty frustrating is not everybody's watching the news, not everybody's reading the paper, and not that you have to be. I understand it's pretty stressful, and you get bored or scared watching the news all the time. Take a break. It's okay to get away from it from time to time. But there are plenty of resources here, and I saw you had Joe Rouse on the other day. Joe puts a lot of information up on the city website. Cityofwestfield.org. You can go right to that webpage and find information. But it's information specific to Westfield. It's not just general information about the coronavirus. It's specific to our city.
Yeah. In fact, at the Westfield TV or cityofwestfield.org, right up at the top, there's a big red flashing button for you to click for everything COVID.
And it gets updated too pretty frequently, so that the information is fresh. It's new. We try to post things like when we close City Hall, for example, or I think we posted. Unfortunately, I had to cancel the mayor's Easter egg hunt because that was scheduled to happen in early April, and we didn't think it was safe to have people running around, little children running around in close proximity, picking up Easter eggs. So we try to put messages up there so that people can get them, and then hopefully they will share the information with their families and coworkers.
Now, whilst you're on that website, you can actually sign up for alerts too. That will go to either or your phone or your email.
That's right. So it's a great thing to have, especially in obviously days like today and situations like this, but also, other, emergencies that may occur.
Yeah, I know. I get a text whenever there's going to be a snow emergency here in town.
Right, or school's going to be closed or something like that. Yeah, it's very helpful.
Excellent. We are looking at 8:58 ish. Which clock am I going to look at?
Use the one that's ticking on your screen.
Okay, 8:58 3/4. We're going to do our top of the hour, and when we get back, we're going to talk about all things WEMA with Jim Wiggs.
Ain't this?
Burn down the store, take what you want and more. Shop until you drop. Voodoo consumer never stop. Load up on supplies, no sale, no compromise. Gun crazy down the mall. Voodoo consumer, take it all.
Eat this, drink this, try this, charge it, it's fabulous.
Step right up and take it, it's fabulous. If you can't afford it, fake it. Be deviously dangerous, ridiculously cool. Let's make it fabulous.
Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous.
Drive me to the bank, kneel down and give me thanks. Grab your credit card, voodoo consumer, kiss me hard.
Eat this, drink this, try this, charge it, it's fabulous.
Step right up and take it, it's fabulous. If you can't afford it, fake it. Be deviously dangerous, ridiculously cool. Let's make it fabulous. Too late, voodoo consumer terminate.
Eat this, drink this, try this, buy this, wear this, fly this, play this, charge it, it's fabulous.
Step right up and take it, it's fabulous. If you can't afford it, fake it. Be deviously dangerous, ridiculously marvelous, meticulously treacherous, disarduously cruel. Just make it fabulous.
Fabulous, 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 fabulous.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
Join me, Tina Gorman, each week from 6 to 8 a.m. for Wake Up Wednesday, when my guests and I discuss health, wellness, and lifestyle reimagined.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
9:03 in the morning. This is the 24th day of March in the year 2020, Anno Domini. This is the Den. This is the second half of the show. And this is where we're going to dive into all things WEMA with Jim Wiggs. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning.
All right, so WEMA is Westfield Emergency Management Agency. Exactly what is WEMA?
Well, Westfield Emergency Management, we're an agency that is focused on the city of Westfield, and I work very closely with the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency, which in turn works very closely with the Federal Emergency Management Agency. And the responsibility is, in the event of something that is very disruptive to our city, then it warrants the activation of Westfield Emergency Management.
Mm-hmm.
We activated it, like on the 16th, I think we did that, right, with the declaration?
Yes.
Come up earlier, I can't remember.
We actually declared a declaration of emergency on March 16th.
Mm-hmm.
I was active before that, but we didn't formalize a role in what we were going to do until March 16th.
Now, does the mayor have to declare a state of emergency in order for Westfield Emergency Management to activate?
No, it does not. There could be some small things that goes on that our departments like fire, police, or public health, or school department, or anything asks for our assistance, and I can activate. And when I say the word activate, is basically I start working with them. Doesn't mean I'm working in necessarily a emergency management role per se, but because that is my position in the city. I'll work with them to see what they need, and then depending on that, we may say, hey, this warrants me to go into action and take the lead or partner as the lead to assist with getting outside assistance and things like that.
Who decides that?
Pretty much I do in conversation with the mayor.
Yeah, we did it jointly.
Yeah.
But we saw how necessary it was. Obviously, the president had made his declaration. The governor had made a declaration. We obviously knew that there was a huge impact here in the city on the school departments and everything else. So Jim was very, very experienced and knew what to do, had long lists of people to contact, and started to get those connections organized pretty much from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I never really see anything on social media or even in the paper sometimes. I never see anything relating to emergency management.
That's a good thing.
That's
yeah.
actually,
So you do not communicate directly with citizens.
Well, yes and no. When doing the and it's really not my role to directly do that. I believe I normally look to our lead of government or the mayor to do that, and it just depends because my responsibility is to address the issue at hand. Like in this case, I'm working very closely with public health. Public health can speak to the coronavirus way better than I can. It's their area of expertise, so I shouldn't be, in most cases, speaking to the media. Now, I will speak to the media about what my role is, which is, in this case, it's supporting them. I'm pulling some organization together to take some of the pressure off of public health and make sure that Joe has all the support that he needs across the departments and stuff. But Joe needs to be focused on working with public health and managing his office, working with the hospitals and everything. And then these peripheral things that he needs, I help pull those together. So we're in a great partnership. We've been there before, but like if you turn the clock back to the tornado and the ice storm, I spoke to the media many times during that phase and stuff because they would come and they would ask what's going on in the joint operations and stuff. I was pretty much coordinating. I was coordinating that thing along with my volunteers, and so I spoke to the media many times jointly with the mayor and sometimes on my own. But at the same time, in respect to the mayor and his office, he's the leader of the city. I still work for the mayor, and the mayor empowers me with a lot of things. But I'm not it doesn't empower me to go in front of the media. There are some things I'm going to be releasing soon to help get information out to the media because I think the more they hear it from people, the better they are.
I think they'd like to be reassured.
Yeah, and that's
exactly what Jim said.
This week we're going into as of yesterday. I mean, our first focus wasn't just go out there and talk to people about things, and then they everyone second guesses. I mean, no matter what we could do, someone's going to sit back and second guess us anyway. But we focused on what we needed to do and get our arms around this thing as a city in the past week and a half.
In a very impressive way too. I mean,
Yes.
Jim pulled together a team of people. We've been doing almost daily conference calls with police and fire and public health and the hospital and council on aging and Westfield State and the Air Guard, and any group that you could imagine that would be involved here in the city was part of that roundtable, and everybody was weighing in on what can they do, how can they help, what coordination do they need, and that's all been through Jim Wiggs, through the Emergency Management Office. So it's so great to have him in that in that position and have him with that experience because he's been through this before.
Well, I've been through the exercise of running the incident command structure.
That's true. Nobody's
But
been
we
through
are
this
in
one before.
uncharted water. We're in uncharted water with this world virus right now. But the thing is, I know that when we bring the right people together and we're rowing in the same direction, we can get through this as a city, as a commonwealth, as a nation, and we will. What I was going, continuing on my line of thought is we're really now that we've kind of normalized our leadership team, our partnerships with other groups. This week we're starting to ramp up communications. By the end of this week, there will be information out there pointing to different things, especially to this site for people to look at. We've got things in place to answer some questions. We're pointing some people to the state's 211. So there's a lot of good things that has been happening, and now we're comfortable enough that we've got everyone rowing in the same direction, that we can focus some energy on communications and not distract from all the things we had to do as a leadership of the city to get us going in the right direction. Not that we were going in the wrong direction, but we don't need 12 people calling a person with the same question. We're streamlining that where they got someone to go to. They can bubble that question up, one phone call. The 12 people that needed an answer get the answer. Those type of things.
Yeah. I get the communication. Now, going back to the tornado and the ice storm, I would imagine a lot of your duties were trying to get equipment out in order to clean things up and repair things. There isn't really much to go around to take care of for damage right now. So what are some potential things that you might be addressing regarding the COVID right now?
Well, I'm partner with Joe for because we have 2 channels up to get some of the critical supplies that we need, not only for public health and but for our first responders. I report our needs up to MEMA, and Joe is reporting his needs up to the state public health. So as the supplies come in from the feds or some of our vendor partners that have been back ordered, because you remember, regardless of what we have in place for a supply chain and what we may have in storage, this is different, and we're going through things. Everyone is going through supplies a lot quicker than they normally do. And our suppliers don't supply just us, and so people that ask for things, and then our suppliers get things, their items from other suppliers in a lot of cases, and so things start getting a little low, and we really need it. We get our orders in. We have our normal orders in. We have our escalated orders in. So I'm working with Joe on that. At the same time, we've been in communications with our long-term care and our assisted living facilities, and talking to them and say, what are some of the things you need? And I did put a request out on my WEMA page, and I asked for some donations, and we had several citizens donate some soap and hand sanitizer, and all those items were a stopgap to if their vendor was running a couple more days late, that they did not run out. So. And you're right, this is a lot different than the tornado, because the tornado, I knew the light at the end of the tunnel was getting debris out of the way, getting power restored. and then reporting to FEMA. It was also a more localized issue, so we could get a lot of outside of assistance very quickly and things like that. Then you take the ice storm, and ice storm was a regional.
Yeah, that was
event.
my question. Is this is completely different because this is not a local or a regional or even a state event. This is a nationwide event.
This is a world event.
The first time we've dealt with that kind of thing in
Yeah.
recent in
modern history. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this is a world event, and when suppliers get, manufacturers get parts or things from foreign countries, and their supply chain is disrupted, it makes everyone scratch their heads. So nothing is unique to Westfield. That when you hear, things that we need, and a lot of protective equipment, hand washing items, things like that. Look at the bottle. There's a shelf life. It starts to break down. So you can't hoard stuff for years and years and put it in a non-temperature controlled facility and expect it to last. So we don't have warehouses full of things stored, but we're confident that our with FEMA and with MEMA and with the as communities also look at their supplies and they got things to share, they're going to be fine. Just like we may have things to share, and we'll help other communities. I talked to some of my counterparts last night and said, "Hey, how are you guys doing? If you need anything, let's talk," and vice versa, because you don't forget those partnerships when we go through this. We're all in this together, and we're going to do whatever we can to help one another.
Things have been changing too, almost daily. So it's moved really fast.
It has.
The whole thing is fluid right now.
Yeah, and I guess everybody's trying to make the best decisions and not make any big mistakes. And so far, I think, I can confidently say Westfield, we have not made any big mistakes. We're following what some of our colleagues are doing. We're looking at what other cities are what they're doing, what the state recommends we do. We're obviously talking about it amongst ourselves before we make a decision about canceling school or shutting down Westfield State or closing City Hall. Those kind of things are all decisions that we've had to make locally, but we've also done that in relation to what other cities around us are doing, or what other states around us are doing. And that's what makes this so unusual, is that it is not just a local or regional event, it is a national or world event.
Right. I'm glad, Jim, you mentioned that there is a shelf life to a lot of these products. For instance, isopropyl alcohol, the potential it loses its potential after 3 years. So if you went out and you bought 3, 4, or 5 bottles of isopropyl alcohol, a little bit of that stuff goes a very long way. So you might want to consider helping our local health agencies with some of that.
Yeah, and share it amongst your with family and friends who may need it, who didn't have a chance to get it. There's no sense to all the hoarding that's going on right now is kind of silly. Maybe it's a natural response, but it's not necessary. There's been no major disruption of our supply chains. There's no major disruption of our manufacturing or our food, our farms. They're still in good shape, and so the food will be there. Make sure you take care of. Obviously take care of your family, but leave it so that there's some for other people's families as well.
Yeah, I can't.
There's no reason to panic.
I can't get a hold of alcohol prep pads because I need to inject at night.
Right.
And
in the site.
And I think people went out and grabbed them so that they can clean down their faucets with them or something. And it, it's not a very comfortable feeling. I have alternate ways of prepping because I know how to research and I get it, but. That's a scary situation when some products meant for medical use are now hoarded as well.
That's correct.
Yeah. Look at this. It's 9:17 in the morning. Let's do a break. We'll be back right after this.
Looking back on when I was a little nappy-headed boy, and my only worry was for Christmas what
Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
It is 9:22, and if I keep talking for just another 2 or 3 seconds, I'll be able to say it's 9:22 and a half. This is the 24th day of March in the year 2020, and we're moving along pretty good. There's still plenty of things for us to talk about, but I've gotten the go-ahead to be able to open up the phone line here if anyone has any questions or any comments, concerns. Area code 413-642-9415. That's 642-9415.
That'll get your friendly producer, Pete. And the Den Mother, do you have any questions, Kathy?
I didn't know she was back.
Yeah, she's still there.
You there, Kathy?
She's connected. Maybe she's just listening.
Okay. She has it on mute or something.
Yeah, probably.
So let's...
Yep, there she goes.
Yes,
Kathy,
I am still here.
Do you have any questions?
I just went to put a dish of cat food down.
Regular life still goes on, right?
One of many.
And I do have a message for I do have a message for Mayor Humason.
Yes, ma'am.
I know exactly who you're talking about without the television.
She's a wonderful woman, though, isn't she?
A little Italian hobbit.
Indeed,
Yes.
indeed. I love her.
Indeed she is. The minute you said that, I knew who you meant.
Yep, Jen and I were talking about that.
Only because there's not that many of them done.
Well, there still are quite a few out there who maybe have it but don't watch it, or who are keeping it off right now because they don't want to be overwhelmed by bad news.
Well, it's interesting that you're talking about it because I was just discussing this with the president of the Women's Club and saying that maybe we need to reach out to some of our members and let them know that there is help because a lot of the elderly maybe don't have the contacts. They may not be computer literate. They may not exactly know who to call or what to do. So we need to keep in mind that that's a population Westfield needs to take care of. And I thank the senior citizens, the senior center down there for getting a hold of meals and those kinds of things. But they need to know we're here. We can help them. We can drop things off if they need to. Oh, wait. I'm one of them, aren't I?
We didn't talk about that, though, Jim. And I'm sure you've talked about it on your show before, though. But there are places for people to go to grab lunches if they're maybe not able to make lunch themselves. Yep, the senior center you can call every day in the morning to reserve a place. Later on, swing by, what is it, between 11 and 1, I think it is, to pick up the lunches right outside. It's grab and go. You don't even go inside the senior center. They will bring the lunch to you as you drive by. That's on Noble Street. There are schools here in the city of Westwood that you can go to and get lunches for children between the ages, I think, of 2 and 18.
Correct. Yep.
At night, you can go to the Boys and Girls Club, and right outside, again, not into any of these places, but outside, all of them, you can swing by while you're still in your vehicle or walking by, and they will provide for you healthy, nutritious food to cover you during this time when perhaps some people aren't getting
and I know they're geared up for like 700 meals each, I believe.
And they haven't been up to that level yet.
Right. They're not. Yeah, they haven't gotten close to that level yet, so they have a lot more capacity.
Which I guess is a good thing. I mean, that's good news. But so the capacity is still there, but there's plenty of places like that if folks aren't aware. And maybe those are some of the questions we can answer if they have.
Mm-hmm. And I actually see producer Pete pre-screening one of our calls right now, and I'm sure he'll break in any minute to let us know something's going on there.
The
And-
other thing, though, that we need to let people know out there, too, is, people are here to help you. If you're stuck in the house and you can't get out and you don't drive and you need something, you've got to let us know so that we can help you or we can find someone to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I was in touch with, over the weekend, a lot of the churches in the town, in Westfield, and a lot of the
Good.
pastors, especially the churches that are larger and have the capability, have been live streaming their services, right? They've been doing video church services so that people aren't actually going, the congregations aren't actually going into the church, but they're watching from home. But there's a lot of people at the church that still have time to volunteer now. And they've been saying, I talked to the youth pastor at my church, for example, and he said, what can we do? And I said, listen, there's groups out there that may need volunteers to help maybe go to the store and pick up food for a senior shut-in, or go to get medication for someone, or to do a chore like that. So there's places to go. Maybe Jim can tell us where we can call in if we have, if we can offer services like that. Who should we report to?
And speaking of calling in, Pete,
We
do
do
we
have
have
a
something going
caller
on?
on there, yep.
Community programming. Thanks for calling in. Who are we talking with?
Hello?
Yes, it's you.
Hi, this is Jenny. Hi,
Hi, Jenny.
John. Hi, Ken.
Hi.
I've got a question. Are there any known cases in Westfield at this time?
It's a good question. I'm not aware.
We have some suspected cases, and we're waiting to confirm that they are confirmed. I would need to speak directly to public health and see if those confirmations have.
Yeah, Bay State
back
Noble
there.
would probably let Joe Rouse know, and then Joe could let us know.
Yeah.
Fortunately, there haven't been many cases in Hampden County yet, but we know with having Bay State Noble here in our community, and also with having Bay State in Springfield, with these big hospitals and Mercy and the others, there's bound to be cases coming into the community eventually, because people, when sick, will end up going to the hospital. Although, what we've been trying to tell them is, if you think you have symptoms, don't go to the don't call 911, don't go to the hospital, go to your regular doctor
And call your regular doctor before you go over.
and then
great.
report that you're not feeling well. Tell them what it is that you have or you think you have, and they'll advise you what to do.
Jenny, anything else for our experts here?
Yeah, let me just
hold on.
Let me just
Go ahead,
add
Jim.
one thing, just to be transparent. We do have, and when I said we're waiting for results, we do have some presumed cases in Westfield, a very small number, less than 5, and we're waiting to see if they're confirmations. There's been other presumptions, and they came back negative. So, but there are like 4 cases right now that are being reviewed, and we will know shortly whether they're confirmed or not.
And also, too, right now, the flu season's still raging on, and there's the
Right.
regular colds and things like that are going around. So something that looks like coronavirus could just be influenza at this point,
That
too.
is 100% correct. That's why I used the word presume, because
Yep.
a lot of the information and the symptoms are start out as the same. So.
And it's allergy season too, and Ken and I were just talking about that earlier. Allergy
Yeah.
season with people coughing and sneezing, and
Things are
all
blooming
those
on the
things.
trees, even though there's a little bit of snow out there this morning.
You can see the buds starting to open.
Jenny, anything else?
That's it. Thanks, Don.
Thanks, guys. Stay safe, okay?
All right, thanks for calling in.
Be healthy.
Pete, I'm at my 9:30, so let's do a break. When we come back, we have a few more things to go over, and we'll still be taking phone calls at 413-642-9415. That's 413-642-9415.
Kim.
Honey, love, ooh, ease my mind. And I need to find time, someone to call mine. My mama said you can't hurry love. No, you just have to wait. She said love don't come easy, but it's a game of give and take. You can't hurry love. No, you just have to wait.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, and advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
9:34 and a half. It's the 24th day of March. I am here with Mayor Humason and Director of WEMA, Jim Wiggs. Now, Jim, during the break...
Hey, before we get into that, can I throw a plug out for something we're doing on Channel 15?
I guess we're gonna, because you broke in there.
Absolutely.
All right.
So a whole bunch of bands and musicians have decided to go online and do shows from their homes, and they're calling it the Social Distancing Fest. And we're going to simulcast all those shows to give you a break from all the coronavirus and COVID-19 coverage. So Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights from like 6 to midnight some nights and 6 to 10 other nights, we're going to have different bands each hour, and we're going to simulcast them on Channel 15 and 89.5. So it's kind of something cool, give everybody a little bit of a break. Tonight, Brian Chacon and Vicky, the Brian and Vicky Show, are doing something from their house on Facebook, and we're going to broadcast that live as well. So we're giving people a little bit of break, and the musicians around the area are kind of doing cool things, and they're getting innovative about it, which is
these
really
are all
cool.
local bands, right?
They're all local bands, yeah.
Cool.
Are we going to be archiving any of the video for later feedback as well?
Yes, I've asked the organizers for permission for that, and they gave me permission. The schedule is up on the community bulletin board. I put the schedule up for this weekend, and right now they're going to do one more weekend through next weekend through April 4th, and they'll give us a schedule when that comes out. But there's a different band every hour, local bands, and I think it's a really cool idea.
Is it going to be like Italy? We're just going to stand out on our porches and sing, serenade
our
neighbors.
We're not as tightly packed in this community to do something like that, they do in Italy.
So when you say community bulletin board, we're talking about Channel 12 in this case?
Yes,
right.
Channel 12. Yep, on the community bulletin board, and I put it up on my Facebook page earlier today. But I got to talk to establishing a CPC Facebook page. We got to get that up and running too.
Yeah, get information out about our programming, and I think it'd be great to get that information out.
Yep.
During the break, Jim, we were talking about how social distancing actually is working.
Absolutely. So social distance absolutely does work. And if you look at New York City, they're in a tough spot because they have a dense population. And then when you go to places, even like the Commonwealth, where we have a way less population than New York City, the areas that we have the most cases are areas that are more densely populated. But so as people spread out, and if we use the guidelines and our common sense approach, that you approach someone and you make an assumption that they could be sick or something, and you just give yourself a little space for a while, we can get through this quicker. But if you are congregating in a group of people, the odds are that one of those people maybe, if they most likely probably do not have the COVID-19, but they could have the common cold or flu right now. And if you congregate, you could get sick. So use some common sense. Distance yourself. That's the number one thing right now. If you touch things, you go out into a public place and you touch things. Keep some Perel in your car, some hand sanitizer. Wash your hands. And just be smart. We can get through this, and we can get through it very simply following some simple guidelines.
What if I cannot find any hand sanitizer?
Well, there's always soap and water.
There's soap and water.
And guess what? That works pretty well.
Yeah.
That's what I'm relying on right now. Good 20 seconds.
Just
of
spend some time under the faucet and make sure you're soaping up your hands and fingers and doing the job. It's not a quick drive by. You got to get in there a little bit, but soap and water works.
I want to talk about a few common sense things, and then right after that, I want Jim to hand out some numbers to call. So I'm giving notice out there right now. Grab yourself a pen or pencil and a piece of paper. We're going to be rolling off some numbers of some different departments that you can call for information. And when we do that, we're going to roll the telephone number twice to make sure you have plenty of time in order to write it down. So while you folks are gathering those provisions, Jim, there's a lot of common sense things too that we should be doing that we might have to be reminded about.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Any I've already addressed any flu season and stuff. You do the things that you would always do to help from getting a cold. I know many parents, including myself, when my kids were young, we tell them, don't be touching the hand of the escalator and stuff. We rubbing your hand all over it and stuff, and then touch your face. Many people touch that, so those things are what you normally would do anyway.
I'm a face toucher. I do
Can't
it
help
without
it, right?
thinking.
I am too. I mean, probably a few times during this show I did.
Yes, you have.
But I'll wash my hands right before I came into the studio. And then the other thing is, a lot of people have anxiety or they worry about things, and I know it's a natural nature to be concerned and stuff. But the one way you can help yourself and you can help us is focus your energy on those things that you can control. And don't worry a lot about things you can't control, because if you can't control it, what are you going to do about it? So focus your positive energy on the things you can control. Do the things that can help yourself, help your family, help your loved ones, and put that positive energy to use. What's going on in other areas, or if there's a politician that says something that really gets your blood boiling and stuff, you're not going to change it right now. So just don't focus a lot of energy on that. Focus on the things you can control, please. And we're all, like I mentioned before, we're all in uncharted waters. This is something in my lifetime I've never seen. Most people, maybe we have a very, very older relatives, they've seen something similar, but this is a global thing. There's a lot of concern about it for obvious reasons. But just as in history shows that we as a nation and as a world, we come out the other side better, and we learn from these things. So give it time, and we're all this is a first time for all of us. So if you're not sure what to do, welcome to the club in some cases, because we're all putting our ideas together at every level, saying what to do, giving the best advice possible, and I would ask that this is a time you need to trust your doctor, you need to trust your public health officials, and you need to trust your own gut instinct. And I think that will get you through this.
It's also a time where we also really need to come together as a community and not snip at each
come
other
together from a distance.
and I mentioned that because during the last break, I got a text from one of our listeners offering some alcohol prep pads in case I needed them, and that's what I'm talking about here. Check in on your neighbor, reach out to your community. You don't have to go out in the public in order to help a lot of people out. Don,
we've been surprised by the number of people that have called in or emailed the mayor's office and said, how can I help? I'm not working right now because my business has told me to stay home, so I have time to volunteer. Mm-hmm. And so we have a number of people out there that have that altruistic spirit that are willing to do something about it, and they're just looking for places to put that energy.
That's a good segue, Mayor, because if someone does have just general questions and stuff, please don't call 911. Call the state 211. If there is a question that's specific to Westfield, or if you want to, if you have a question about volunteering or something that you can do to help, I have a line set up that we will be checking daily. The number is 642-9360. You can call that number also if you want to dispel a general rumor about this, find out what's going on. Public Health has
That number again?
642-9360.
All right, thanks, Jim.
And Public Health has two numbers set up. If you've talked to your doctor, or you maybe talked to 211 and you have a specific question, health related, there's two numbers, and someone will either answer your question or get back to you. The first number is 572-6206. The second number is 572-9310.
Can we get those again?
The first number for Public Health, general questions, 572-6206. The second number is 572-9310. And use these. And we've set these numbers there also. So, again, we don't have a infinite number of staff. I mean, and Joe,
Right.
I have to
These
work.
departments are not very.
Now, there's no call bank set up right now. We don't have the bodies
Right.
for it.
Are you likely to get a machine and need to leave a message on voicemail or something when you call these numbers?
Yeah, if
might.
someone doesn't answer, it will go to voicemail, and then someone will get back to you if you leave your name, number, and a contact.
But that's because they're on the other line.
Yeah.
And I do want to remind people, if you do leave, and it happens to me a lot because I deal with getting a lot of voicemail at my shop when I'm there. When you leave a voicemail message, be calm when you talk. Don't talk fast. Say your telephone number twice so that we understand exactly what you're trying to say so that we can actually call you back and not dial the wrong number.
And
I also. Oh, sorry, Jim.
I'm sorry. One more thing. I mentioned 911. 911 is getting inundated with calls, as more people, we're still in flu season. We still have a city that has their daily things that police and fire have to respond to. So if you can, if you have general questions, that's when you should use these alternate numbers. If you don't remember a number and the question is really bothering you, call 911. But the only reason to ask you not to call 911 is if it's a non-emergency and it's just a general question. We need to relieve some of the pressure on our public safety dispatchers so they can focus on not only the daily things that go on in the city, but the other emergencies that are popping up. Thank you.
I was going to say earlier too. When you we've been getting emails in my office, in the mayor's office, and folks don't leave their telephone numbers. So I'm going to ask, just as a courtesy, if you shoot me an email for any reason, put your telephone number in there too. Mm-hmm. I don't always have time to sit by the desk and answer emails like I'd like to, but I definitely have time to make phone calls. Mm-hmm. So I can do that as I'm driving back and forth or going between meetings or what have you. I want to try to get back to as many people as need to contact me or my office, but make it easier by including your telephone number.
I've actually seen you leave that number on Facebook many times, asking people to call in. What would that number be?
Yeah, so our office is 572-6201, 413 obviously, 572-6201. Michelle and Holly in the mayor's office will most likely answer the call and then make sure that I get the message. Mm-hmm. And then hopefully I'll be able to return your call if you leave your telephone number.
Excellent.
I got a tip from Councilor Flaherty, too. He said, when you're in the food stores, try to give the employees a 6-foot clearance as well.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Some of their scouts are working in the stores and getting swarmed by customers at times. Just give them the space, too, to do their job safely because, they get out sick, then there's going to be less employees to stock shelves and things like that.
If you go to Ocean State Job Lot, they actually have red tape on the floor now with boxes showing you where to stand.
Several stores that have that. Home Depot did that, and I noticed that the other day when I popped in there.
I was getting some coffee the other day, I think at one of the drive-thrus, either McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts, and I was going to hand the money through the window, and I'm thinking, how do I do this without touching them? I don't want to. Not that I care, but I just didn't want them to think I was going to leave my germy money on their fingers. But
a lot of places like Dunkin' Donuts are saying use their apps, and you can drive through and claim your stuff without you get paid prepay.
Good point. Or even using the credit cards and stuff like that.
I've just been telling people keep the change.
That's right, and that was what I was going to say too.
Yeah.
Now they're working really hard too, and they're dealing with you at the window or at the window now, not at the counter. If you got the ability, throw a little extra in the tip jar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think it helps everybody.
Speaking of Dunkin' Donuts, that's a reminder, Mayor, that encourage people to the restaurants and everything. Their business is down, but they're still doing takeout. So if you don't want to make cook a meal and stuff, and you want to get some a good dinner for the family or lunch or breakfast, visit our local establishments and stuff.
That app you were talking about.
They're trying to keep people employed through this entire thing, and the only way they're going to do it is if we're frequently going there and getting a takeout and stuff. So
and shortly we will have a website here in town that's listing all the places that are doing.
Councilor Flaherty, I think, and Kenny are working on an app. Westfield to Go?
Westfieldtogo.com will be the website. Give us a couple more days because life goes on regardless. So we're fitting in all the work with the data in between things. 9:49. Pete, I want to do one of our quick breaks so that we can touch base in here, and then we'll be back for inspiration and whatever else the gentlemen want to.
Calming and soothing.
Exactly.
Underwriting is brought to you by Boise Cascade Distribution, providing products and services needed for building material dealers, home improvement centers, and industrial customers. They offer everything from engineered wood and plywood to Drex decking and railing, James Hardie siding, and Advantech subfloor. Located at 33 Fowler Street Extension in Westfield and on the web at bc.com, they are committed to providing quality products, great service, convenience, and value. One of our underwriters here at WSKB's Community Radio is Carson Center for Health and Human Services, a nonprofit organization located at 20 Broad Street in Westfield. They provided behavioral health and rehabilitation services in communities throughout Western Massachusetts since 1963. There are services for children, adolescents, adults, families, and couples. You can find them on the web at carsoncenter.org or at 413-572-4132.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
It's going to be going on to 9:51. Gentlemen, I have about 7 minutes or so for inspiration and words of wisdom and whatever else you want to get out while we have a little bit of time left.
Let me just say this. I've been in the mayor's office now about 3 months, and I've been extremely impressed with how professional everybody has been. Even before this COVID-19 popped up, even before coronavirus became, the word of the day everywhere, it impressed upon me that it's not a big city hall. There's not a lot of people in there. There's not offices filled with minions working. There's just a few folks, but everybody seems to have the public's eye or public's well-being in mind. And I'm really impressed by that. Now, even more so that this comes around and everybody has to do their own job plus everything else involved because of the COVID-19. And so I'll just say this, it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be a little scared. This is new. It's unprecedented. We haven't dealt with it before. But at the same time that we're dealing with this, we also have all the other things that we have to do. On any given day, the city hall has to operate. Our police and fire have to operate. They have to do the normal volume of calls that they would normally be getting. Car accidents or problems, people getting hurt or getting sick normally. And so just be patient. I'd say, and I mean, folks in Westfield are pretty good at this anyway. Be patient with everybody. Make your call, but expect that there might be a little bit of a delay while somebody else gets helped ahead of you. Mm-hmm. And then, when it's your turn, it will be your turn, and the folks will focus, the first responders will focus entirely on you. That's why Jim gave those numbers. If you have, questions and you can not dial 911, that would be very appreciated. If you can not dial the dispatch, that would be appreciated. Give them the chance to focus on the real emergency stuff, and then take care of 211 and some of the other numbers and get the answers to your questions that way. And then we in City Hall and we in the emergency management agencies will do our part to try to get the frequently asked questions regarding COVID-19 in Westfield out there so that you have the answers that you're looking for.
And of course, at the city website, we do have the alert up at the top with whatever latest information.
Cityofwestfield.org, cityofwestfield.org. You go right to that page, and you'll find the information you're looking for.
And that information doesn't lag a day or two. It's updated when you get the information.
She's putting it up right away. And in every department, from our police and fire to our IT to our legal department, everybody is doing a great job. I'm so impressed.
I also see on Facebook, City of Westfield is posting the updates every time the COVID-19 section on the webpage is updated as well.
Yeah, and as things change, as the president does something new or the governor proposes something new, we deal with it, we respond to it, and we try to handle it locally. And that sets off a whole new chain of questions about which businesses are vital and which ones are essential and who has to go to work and all those things. We don't always have the answers, but we're trying to find them. And we'll get them to people as soon as we've got them. Just be patient.
Correct.
And we'll be okay. We're going to get through this. By the way, I'm thanking God that this is happening at springtime. It's not happening in the middle of winter. It's not happening as we're going into the darkest part of the year. Look out the window. It's beautiful. And so we have the option of keeping our social distancing and still getting outside on a beautiful day.
I'm waiting for that sun to melt the snow in my driveway because I did not do anything about clearing it.
It'll all be gone soon.
Yep. Jim, assurances coming out from the Westfield Emergency Management Agency.
I want to assure everybody that we are doing everything in our power to help inform and assist the citizens of Westfield. We understand that this is a difficult time, but just as the mayor said, we have the complete support of every department head in the city.
Yeah.
Those that need to be laser focused on the COVID-19 are. We don't have a magic wand to get over this. We don't have a bubble that we can put over Westfield. But if you help us, it will be in all of our best interests, and we can get out of this sooner by following those simple directions. If you need to go to the grocery store, go when you need to. But as Ken mentioned earlier, there's no need to hoard stuff. The mayor mentioned it also. We will get resupplied. The toilet paper manufacturers, they're going to get toilet paper. Use it, get enough that will last you. Get the BJ or Costco, box, the pallet.
Borrow from Ken.
Borrow from Ken. He's got one extra roll.
Thank you, Janice. I can only imagine the sacrifice you made for that.
Thanks, honey.
But and then Ken mentioned also. Help thy neighbor. If you have an elderly neighbor or a single mom or someone that's disabled, take a few moments. If you don't know them that well, it's not going to hurt to knock on their door, step back, they come to the door. Is anything I can do to assist you? If you want to help, if there's things that you can do to help out my department or any of the other departments, get your name out there. We'll let you know what we can do. We do also we have to practice social distancing ourselves. Because I'm as subject to this as anyone else is, and
I wanted to sit here and hold Jim's hand. He wouldn't let me.
Yeah,
keep up my distance.
Yeah, I had to ward him off. So. But those are the things that you can do to help us, and trust me, we're doing everything we can to help you.
I know that life is going to be different over the next few weeks.
Or more actually.
It could be. I'm trying to be optimistic.
We'll be flexible.
Yep, not putting anything in the stone. But I have not had pizza for lunch in years and years and years. And when I get out of here, I'm going to order a pizza from a local establishment, and I'm just going to enjoy a pizza for lunch. And then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a nap. Because it's okay to do that.
Exactly.
Enjoy it. Enjoy your time.
All right. Don't worry about keeping up a normal schedule right now.
I think we're doing burritos from Two Rivers today. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I got some burritos from Joe on Saturday.
Always good. Always fresh.
And you want to take a nap after eating a full one of those.
Hey, did you see Neil Diamond had updated Sweet Caroline? I saw that on the news yesterday.
Washing hands.
Hands, washing hands. Not touching me, not touching you. Very clever.
Kathy, did I hear you in the background there?
What? I'm still here.
Okay. I'm hanging up in about a minute. Anything that you want to get out?
No, I think that's good. I just want to thank these two gentlemen for donating their 2 hours of time to Westfield and keeping us abreast at what we need to know. Thank you.
Hey, thank you for helping us get the message out to people.
Thank
We
you,
appreciate
Kathy.
it.
And speaking of getting the message out, if you folks want to CC me on anything, I have additional ways of getting that information out additionally, so data can get out quickly and efficiently.
Yeah, Ken, can you send me your email today, or Peter? Send
Yeah,
me,
I can get it to you.
I'll have Peter send it to you.
All right, because we're
Kenny's
gonna,
a promotion machine.
yeah, there's some things that we're going to get out this week that we want to leverage every avenue possible to make sure people do, because, like the mayor said, some people are a little bit more isolated, and we'll do what we can to get that out. We're also doing putting some things together in multiple languages. We're probably going to do a mailer here coming soon with the gas and electric, possibly, or DPW. Or maybe both.
Right, that'll hit every household.
And I'm actually going to be working with our public safety director later today to draft something to go out on our reverse 911 that will go to the people that have landlines. And I'm choosing landlines because most of our older populations are landlines.
Right.
So we're going to do a lot of different things to help, and what you just offered is tremendous.
Okay, yeah, you've got me for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right. That is unfortunately all the time I have. Mayor Humason, I want to thank you for coming in.
Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it. Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Kathy.
And
You
Jim
are
Wiggs, Westfield Emergency Management Agency Director, I want to thank you for coming in and filling us in on lots of information here.
Pleasure. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks very much, Jen.
That's all that I have time for next week. I am planning on having Chef John Slattery in here, and we will be discussing about how to make decent meals with what you might have left in your pantry at that time. So I think that'd be a great time to bring him on. That's all I got for you. I will catch you next week.